Hey everybody, welcome to Tavern Talks. I am your wonderful barkeep for the evening, and once again, we have brought a new guest to the tavern. Tonight we have the Weather Dragon, the illustrious, I guess would be the best way to put it. This man creates the most amazing things I've ever seen when it comes to tables and accessories. So I'm going to definitely have a ton to talk about tonight. Before we do, of course, I want to just give you a chance for you to tell us who you are and where they can find you as we continue our story.
My name is Mike. I am the Weather Dragon. Our biggest social is Instagram. It's the one we pay attention to the most. So if you're on socials, give us a follow there. We do have a YouTube channel as well. Not a bunch of content, but we do post there occasionally. We make really cool tables like this beast behind me. That's the flagship right there, the Harbinger.
That's beautiful. I kind of want to do it like, I know it's not the most, I guess would be conventional idea, but I want that as like a bar. I want a long one. I don't
Well,
want to.
well, the what's the trope? Every good story starts at a tavern. Well,
Right.
there's we just built you the tavern, so
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Sooner or later, that's what this will all look like. Will actually be tavern stuff, but I don't think my current location will allow something like that to be done. So it is what it is. Welcome, friends.
make it happen. Come on.
Let's see what we got going on here tonight. So, for people who have never been here before, this is the Tavern Talks. This is where we bring guests in, we ask them questions, and we kind of dive into the idea of what is happening in the TTRPG space right now. And something that it's been so exciting for me to do here is to find out all these amazing artists and crafters and people like yourself that are doing these amazing things. And we're just giving you a platform to kind of share that with others. Um, what I like to do first, though, is I like to ask 3 questions, all of my guests. Simple questions, they make sense, but it's always fun to ask these questions. First one is, when did you get into tabletop?
Oof. I want to say mid-teens,
Okay,
13, 14-ish. I am 48 years old currently. So I started with AD&D.
okay.
I remember nothing of Thaco, and apparently that's a good thing from what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
um, Temple of Elemental Evil was the one that sticks in my head. But like most, played for 4 or 5 years. As we got older, everybody just kind of drifted away. We grew up, got out of high school, and I took that 25-year or so hiatus. Had kids of my own. My oldest son got into Magic the Gathering. Took him to. Are you familiar with Tower Games in Virginia Beach?
Yeah. So they have
That were actually
they have another one here, right here in Newport News. So
yes,
they've
yep,
got
that's Tower
multiple.
Two. Yes, 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 yes. I actually built out a lot of those stores, and I had my hands on Tower Two as well.
Okay. So you're right around the
Because
corner.
I was a home improvement contractor before I was a table guy. So
Awesome.
that's my original trade and background.
That's great.
But my son, he got into Magic the Gathering, took him to the tower to play with his cousins. So while he's playing, I'm walking around checking the aisles, and I see the starter set for D&D, and it all came flooding back. And I'm like, I'm gonna buy this, and yeah,
That was
that's
it.
all it
That's
took.
all it
That
took,
was it.
right?
It
Yep.
was it was about that was about 6 years ago.
Okay.
Maybe 2018, I think is fair when that happened. And my brain is very go big or go home. I can't do anything simple. I have to overcomplicate everything. And I wanted a cool table to play at. So the original design in Harbinger, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted it. The lanterns is what started the whole concept. I'm like, how can I build a table out of a post in this lantern with
Yeah.
flickers and flames? I wanted the ambiance. As you can see behind me, the mood.
Yeah,
That's my
it's
brain in a
amazing.
nutshell.
I kind of want, like I said, and I want to ask those questions specifically. Like, how do I get the lantern? It's like I can do the table is amazing and I love it, but like I need lanterns all over my room, not just on the table.
Yeah, we can do that too. You see the torches on the wall.
Yeah.
There's a couple those are real wood and metal torches. Those I got off of a creator off of Etsy. He's in the Ukraine.
Okay.
And I ran the electric for those two. So yeah, and
That's awesome.
torches galore.
Torches galore. But hey, who cannot say that they don't want to play in a game like? And I've got this blasting over currently our chat right now of I need a table. I need a table like that. So maybe we get a couple customers out of this as well.
Let's go. www.theweatherdragon.com.
Yo. All right. Well, second question I have to ask then is since you've already answered the first one, is how did you get into it? What actually got you into it though? Like, what was the thing that caught your mind when 13, 14 years old that actually got you into tabletop?
Dragonlance.
Okay.
My a good friend of mine, and I'm still friends with him to this day. He handed me Dragons of Autumn's Twilight, and that was my gateway drug, and that's what did it.
Which one's that one? I've read most of the Dragonlance ones. I'm just trying to put the.
Autumn Twilight is the very first one, I
Oh yeah.
believe. don't crucify me, diehard Dragonlance fans, please. But I
Right.
believe it was the first one.
Don't stab me on this one. I believe. And I will tell you that for me personally, I think it's so. Dragonlance was a big one for me as well. Um, for those, which is funny we say Dragonlance because of course the picture that we picked was you with Larry Elmore, who is known for
Yes.
his Dragonlance. Um,
No lie, what that was Gary Con. That was this year, Gary
I
Con
know,
this year.
yeah.
And I got emotional when I met him. That's how like impactful that man
I
is
spent
on mine and countless of other humans on the planet. Like, yeah, the dude
and
is epic, and he signed the table too.
oh my, yeah. So I met him there as well this year. Gary Con. This was my first Gary Con this year, and finding out this was his last year, I couldn't pass up an opportunity to get an artwork signed by him.
His I don't want to say his handler, but the guy that's with him
Yeah,
at the shows, he's like he says that every year.
yeah, I know. Yeah, he
So
does.
hopefully he'll go back
Hope,
because I have you seen the Dungeon Crawl board game that not Luke Ernie Gygax did with what with the museum and the shop that he's with.
oh, I haven't yet.
Well, I have two copies of that, and I got the limited edition Larry Elmore artwork cover.
Oh,
Oh God, I wasn't thinking I should have brought it to Gary Gunn and have him sign that because they're
yeah,
not opened. I didn't open them,
yeah,
but
that'd be
I'm gonna
awesome.
try again. I'm gonna bring it next year and pray that he's there.
Yeah,
Keep my fingers crossed.
yeah. I talked to the guy too, and same thing. He said, yeah, he said, but with his health, you never know. So I mean, it is what
Right.
he's getting up there. But it was cool to
In
talk.
that
Sit there and
picture, in
talk.
that picture that you have posted,
Mm-hmm.
when he was chatting with me for about 10 minutes, and he was talking about the hustle when he was younger. Caffeine and nicotine that's what kept him awake. He was awake 18 hours a day, and he had a heart attack. He's like, I died. He's like, I was dead. He was legally dead at one point, but they resuscitated him, and brought him back. So thank God they brought Larry back.
Yeah, no, I was glad he was back as well. Because, like I said, my first time ever being there, I never had a chance to meet him, but he had definitely been one of the him, and then we get to meet Jeff Easley that year as well, so that was pretty
Yep.
awesome.
Yeah, I met Jeff too. I got Jeff on the table as
Look at
well.
that.
Super epic. When Gary Con was over, when they put the white signs behind the our spots, it
Yep.
says the Weather Dragon. Well,
Yep.
I took Larry Elmore's. I got Elmore Productions. I'm gonna put that up on the wall.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I'm
That'll
looking
be
forward to this year. Got the I'm already booked, ready to go for next year, so I'll be there.
Yep,
So
me too. I already got my spots paid
yeah,
for. I'm good. I'm in.
good
So
to
yeah,
go.
I will definitely see you there.
Kind of playing it digitally, which of course makes me want to chuckle considering my day job. Yeah. So Leo he works with D&D Beyond. So yes, it's funny that he says he's more of a pen and paper person. But,
Yeah, that's a little ironic. I love see that's why my table is 13 inches of space for the players.
yeah,
13 inches, not the standard. I don't want to pick. I'm not picking on Wormwood, but that 4 or 5 inch
yeah,
perimeter that they give you. What are you doing with that? I don't
right.
understand it. So
And
it
in
just
all
boggles my
honesty,
mind.
if I would have seen your table before I would have seen the table I bought, and I think it's funny, and I'm going to say this in the most nicest way possible, but it made me laugh when I saw what your quote is. It's like, this is not a new dining table. This is actually the table we want for our, and it's true though, because for
Right.
me, I have kids still, and I still have people over that aren't always gamers. And I don't have a room yet that I can just go, this is my gaming room. So
Right.
I needed a dining room table, and I was like, you know what, I need both. So I bought both. But but I like the idea, though, of course, like you said, where you get the extra edges for all the players because that is a pain in the neck when you only have this little, what is that? You said 4 or 5 inch
Yeah,
round?
it's
Yeah.
not much. I don't know what the exact measurement is, but I'm going to say it's around 5,
Yeah.
and I don't get it. But so again, in the design process of that thing behind me, I'm like, all right, I want the ambiance. I got the post and the lanterns for the ambiance. Put some LEDs in the game vault. Okay, no big deal. But then it was just trying to everything. I want that 12, 13 inches of space to actually put crap on because I love paper and pencil also too. I
Right.
don't. I mean, I'll use D&D Beyond and stuff, but I do like the old school vibes. Some place to put your dice tray, a place to put your
Mm-hmm.
snacks. And there's a player cubbies also. So right underneath the hardwood, there's room to put overflow and
Yeah,
extra crap. So there's just storage galore.
that's awesome. And there's power in all the uh, panels and everything,
In the
except
post,
their posts.
each
Yeah.
post,
Yeah.
each post, there's an outlet. So everybody's got power to keep your phones charged if you're using D&D Beyond, and that's all D&D Beyond. You don't Facebook and you don't Instagram it up when you're playing at the
Nope.
table.
Only D&D Beyond. If I mean, I've
So
thought about it. So I have a background in cybersecurity, and there's been a point in, when we have game night that I literally go in and change all the settings on my internet so that when you log into this specific, account, the only thing you can get to is D&D Beyond because I don't want you
that's hilarious.
uploading. So
That's funny. You should do a video on that so everybody can
get everybody watch
so
how to
everybody
do
can
it.
do that.
Super easy. It's just changing the setting in your router. But anyway, my final question, and this is the one I enjoy the most, is when did you decide that you went from I'm playing at a table, I'm 13 years old, to I'm going to pick up the book and I'm going to tell my own story? When was that? When did you pick up the mantle of Game Master?
Whoa, did I run?
Or have you?
I think I might have tried
Or
in my
have
younger
you?
years. Like, yeah, I definitely did. I'm not. I have no recollection of how poorly
Yeah.
it really was, but yes, I even did back then. But getting back into it, um, it was it was basically me and my kids. So
Okay.
they had
You
no
didn't have a
clue. So I
choice.
had to.
It was
So
Game
I
Master
had to
immediately.
run. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for the first like 2 years, I was running games. Then once I had the table built and had some other friends, some more seasoned vets that that knew what they were doing.
Mm.
Matt Gatto Blaster. I don't know. Do you see Gatto Blaster in the comments there? He might be
Not here
watching. I don't
yet.
know.
We have
Um,
Snuggy the Goblin, and
Snuggy.
I think that's the only one I've seen that is
That's
new
my
to the
boy
channel.
Kenya.
Yeah,
Kenya's on my Instagram. He's all over there. Snuggy's on it. Snuggy's coming to Gary Con.
nice. And then we also have a local down here in Virginia, the Inked Game Master, who
Ink GM.
yeah,
Charlie, is that you? Say yes, Charlie. I can't see.
so stoked for our next one shot. There is no better table to GM at than the Weather Dragon
Charlie's
table.
coming to the house September 14th to run a game.
Oh man, you got an extra slot? I'll be there.
You know what's funny? Somebody did cancel, but you want to talk about being brain dead?
Oh
Every time
yeah,
I schedule these games, I fill the table and exclude myself. I'm like, I do it every time. I'm like, what the? How stupid can you be?
right.
So unfortunately, somebody bailed out, but now that's my spot.
No worries. No, I actually just thought about that. 14th isn't going to work anyways. You said September 14th, right?
Yeah, September
Yeah, no, that's
14th.
my son's birthday. I'm not going to do
How old
that.
is he?
He'll be 10 this year.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
One more year before I start dragging him around to cons. I got to have him old enough that he can be okay in a hotel room without dad for
Oh, right,
evenings
right.
because that's when it's time
Yeah,
to go
it's busy.
network and
Cons are busy. Oh hell yeah! You gotta hit the pubs and raise your pint.
yep. Last time it was that's where I met Gary Con was actually where I met Todd this year, so I know you built a table for Todd and
Yep.
yeah, it's crazy this world we live in of tabletop RPGs.
Well, since you mentioned Todd, we might as well go that way.
Yeah, let's go that way. Let's start with that. So
Um,
how did that all go down?
uh, when you had Distal on,
Yeah.
you were briefly touching on
Who's
influencers that weren't. You didn't say their name, but I think I know who you were talking about because I was involved with them. Is it a male and female influencer?
Yes.
Um, I had
can-
originally gotten involved with them, and they wound up getting a table,
Okay.
and within a month, 2 months, all that shit went down and they
Oh
got canceled.
my.
So there
Yeah.
goes my investment. I was like, great. But before that happened, while that ship was sinking, the SS Stashwick came tooting along, and he threw me a life raft and pulled me out of the water. So
That's awesome.
if I didn't meet those two, I would have never met Todd Stashwick.
Yeah.
So um, so yeah, so that's how that happened.
Yeah.
When we first started chatting, he loved the Harbinger. The Harbinger was the only model I had at the time.
Hmm.
Barstool height, tall post lanterns. He felt it was going to be too much for his nerd layer for his space. And at the time, I didn't know. I wasn't really open to
Customizing.
new models. I was still trying to perfect this one. You know, it was still a work in progress. Um, so I'm like, shit. I was like, I can't lose this dude. So like 3 days later, I called him back. We started chatting again. I was like, what does Todd Stashwick need for his game room? Talk to me. He's like, what do we need? He said, for starters, I need standard table height, not barstool height. Okay, cool. What else do you need? He's like, the posts are a little too tall. What can we do about the posts? I was like, well, we can chop them right above the outlet to still give you the outlet because I don't think you want to lose that. And he's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I want to keep the outlet. But now we just lost all the beautiful ambiance from the lanterns and the flickering uh, light bulb. So what do we do? So he came up with the idea for the braziers for the little fire pits.
Yep.
I'm like, okay. I'm like, that's kind of cool. So I sketched something up real quick, sent it to him. He goes, I like it. Let's go with that. So I took that I designed, made it a little more legible in dimensions and all that, and sent it to
Hmm.
a 3D modeler. Had it done, so now we have the STL, and we spit them out whenever we need them. They're 3D printed,
Awesome.
so that's what brought the Stashwick fire pits and brought those to life. So other than well, not other than, but we just replaced the lanterns with the fire pits. They don't give off nearly as much light,
Hmm.
but it still gives a pretty cool mood for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious then. So, like, you've done this one. So when you sent me your whole package of like all the different ones you've done, so what are you up to? Like six different customized
There's
versions?
10.
10
There's
now?
10 different models now.
Yeah.
There's-
That's awesome. But the one you really still to this day like poke at is the Harbinger, which is the one behind you. Like, it's the
it
one I've
is. It
seen
is.
more
I'd
than
have to
not.
do a count to see. I need to keep like a score sheet of
Of like
Harbinger,
Harbinger
Stashwick,
Stashwick.
Dungeoneer,
Yeah.
and see to really, to really see. Not that who's winning, but just to see which table is,
Yeah.
the most popular. I guess is the right way to say it.
Yeah. Is this so? We mentioned it, and Distal just mentioned it on the thing. So is the Harbinger the bar side one, the bar style
Yes,
one? Okay.
that's barstool height. Yep,
Yeah.
42 inches to the top.
Yeah. For somebody tall like me, Barstool is so perfect.
And the reasoning behind the bar stool height is anybody who plays D&D knows you're sitting there for 4, 6, 8 hours at a time.
Yeah.
Who the hell wants to sit down for all that time? So after you had enough, kick the stool back and stand up for a little bit.
Yo.
When I'm running games, I like standing up when I'm running games.
Right.
When I was playing with my son and his friends, as soon as we got to the combat, the stools went flying and they stood up anyway.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's a nice feature. And everybody says, "Oh, Bart, you can't reach the middle." Every bar stool comes with a footrest, like a step at the bottom of the stool.
Yeah.
You step on that, which I'm doing right now. I'm
Yeah.
on the stool,
You get right in
and
the
you can
middle,
reach
no
you can
issue.
reach into the middle.
Yeah.
So the table is big. It's 6 foot across. It's 6 by 6. So that if there are nothing is perfect. No table is going to hit every nail
Nope.
on the mark. So if you're going to put that in the con category, yeah, it's wide. I wanted the 6 by 6 to keep everybody at the same distance apart, not a rectangle. DMs here, and then the guy at the end. So it keeps everybody at an even, like the Knights of the Round Table, if you will. Everybody's equidistant.
Yeah, I've got Heroes of Evermore telling me to get out there to MysticCon this year. Like,
Oh,
West Coast
is
is
that
rough,
Morgan?
man. Yeah, it's
Is that
Morgan.
Morgan?
Yep.
Oh shit!
Yeah, Morgan and I have been working together for almost 2 years now, off and on, just different things. He was one of the ones that came in the background and helped me out with understanding the marketing side of things and whatnot, which was definitely helpful.
Nice.
But yeah,
Yeah, it's solid, dude. I'm becoming friends with Morgan as well, and in October, I'm going out there. I'm going out to California for Mysticon for
yep.
his convention too. So,
Yeah,
yay,
he's telling
Mysticon!
me to go, but I'm like, hey, if I'm gonna go, I need some help. I can't make it out to the West Coast that easy. So I've never been to a West Coast con yet. Next year is gonna be my big project to at least get one of them. So, and no, this year I will not be at Unplugged this year. I was supposed to go last year, or I was supposed to go this year. I went last year, but both my son and I will be in martial arts testing that year, or that right at that same weekend. So we will not. I will not be able to go. So yeah,
Yeah,
sorry guys. You gotta find another convention for me. Like
we have a crew going to PAX.
yeah,
There's like 5 of us.
yeah. I really enjoyed PAX. It was my first year last year, and I really had a good time with it. This 2024 has been a year of experiencing new conventions. GaryCon was my first one. This was my first one for GaryCon. This was my first one for PAX.
Oh, same here, man. Same here
I
for
got
sure.
the opportunity to go out to PAX West this at the end of the month, but there's no way I can swing that one. So, yeah, West Coast conventions are a little more difficult for me here on the East Coast. So, but for those that are going to PAX, I'm sure you guys will all have a great time and it'll be a blast. But not this year, guys. Maybe next year.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting Nick. Nick's going, and Meredith Placco from Turbo Dork and Steve Jackson
Oh
Games.
yeah.
I'm in a Pathfinder stream with her,
Okay.
and she hopefully after meeting her and Nick, you can make I can make some good connections for PAX Unplugged next year.
Yeah.
Is what I'm hoping for. So.
Yeah. Like I said, as long as it doesn't follow again on martial arts weekends, then I'll definitely be at PAX next year. This year, just kind of it's fallen on belt testing week, so unless something changes, if they flip the date, I mean, it's only a 5 hour drive for me, so for me, I can pull that one pretty much on a whim.
Right.
The
Yeah.
West
To me,
Coast
that's
ones
close.
are
Like that's PAX is nothing
yeah.
for me either. That's 5.5, 6 hours.
Yep.
It's no big deal.
But for those that are East Coast, I am working with a company out of Norfolk. We're trying to put on a Ren Fair / convention, small convention in
Oh,
October
what the hell?
November time frame. So
And you're just telling me now?
I'm just finding out. Like we're just working on like the basics of this thing right now. I don't know if it's going to come off or not, but and I can't say.
You're trying to do it this year?
Yeah, they want to do it this year.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's a little late.
Yep. I was brought on as kind of an MC / help to organize it, but we'll see.
Wow. Look, I've never ran a con before, but this is just there's I guess the 10,000-mile view. Like, oh man, I think there's a lot of moving parts there.
Yeah.
You maybe setting yourself. What's going to happen if
It's going to be a small one. It's not going to be big,
but God forbid, like stuff just doesn't pull together the way you want it, and it doesn't turn out the way you hoped, and then it's such a bad first experience,
right.
and that just would not be good, man. I'd hate to see that. I'd hate to see everybody get so bummed from that, be like, oh shit, what the, And
yeah, they want to do almost like a Ren Fair, 1 day Ren Fair type, but with bringing in D&D in it and things like that.
Right.
So,
that's awesome though, man. Hey, I'll be there. You let me know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Snuggie, reach out. You can find me at james.tabletopmisfits@gmail, and we can talk. I can get you connected to the people, and hopefully, because that's what they're trying to do, is they're trying to find a park to run it at. So, but
oh yeah, he's a ranger.
That's what I just saw it. He's like, I work for Parks and Rec. So yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, awesome. I was actually just down in North Carolina a couple months ago for your guys' East North Carolina Ren Fair. So,
where the heck was that?
How
did I miss that memo?
Yeah.
What the hell?
East North Carolina. Ren Fair. Is that what it was? Eastern North Carolina Ren Fair. Yeah, it was over in Kinston. So
Do you say Kempsville?
Kinston.
No. Oh, oh. I'm like, wait a minute. Kempsville's Virginia. That ain't North
No, no, no. It was in Kinston. It was. I went there this year. It was my first one to take my son to, and he absolutely loved it. So it was April. So I mean, it was an early one. It was April 12th and 13th down there. So, but it was fun. We had a lot of fun times. So,
Yeah, those are good. It's been a while since I've been to one. We tried going a few years ago, but it was so stinking busy. We literally sat in the line, in the car, trying to get to the gate for at least an hour, and we just finally turned around. Like, this is ridiculous. We were barely moving. Yeah, bad experience, but
yeah, I'm finding
but they're
more and
getting
more
popular,
people
which is good.
surprisingly are in the East Coast than I had expected. Because normally I hear everybody's either Midwest or West Coast, and finding more
Nah,
and
they're
more.
everywhere, man. The fantasy nerds are
We are
everywhere. They're
everywhere.
everywhere.
The problem is we don't have a lot of conventions here though in this area. So
Right,
we
right,
do, but they're not TTRPG based. They're not board game based.
right.
They're more your anime conventions, your sci-fi conventions, and your horror
Yep.
conventions. So so what's the next big one for you then? Is I'm guessing October is your next big one.
Well, that one's kind of tricky. Like, I'm going, but I'm not really going as a vendor. So yeah, like, it's not like a Gary Con type thing. My original, I'm actually trying to reclaim a damaged table.
Okay.
One of my customers moved to LA, and in the move, the customers screwed the table up. So
Oh no.
finally, I actually just got off the phone with his assistant today, and it's getting settled, and he's happy with the payout. So, in my conversation with him was, nobody can fix one of the braziers got damaged, so I'm the only one who holds that STL file. Well, that and my 3D printer guy.
Right. Yep.
Like, so nobody's fixing this table but me. So, and he understands that he doesn't, need it. So he's like, whatever. So I think I haven't had the final conversation yet, but I'm pretty sure he's going to allow me to just come take it. This is going to cost me well over $1,000 to get it back to North Carolina. Between building the crate in California,
Mm-hmm.
shipping it back here. So it's quite an expense, for me as well. But it's well worth it to have that second table, to start bringing two tables to conventions, get bigger booths. So
Definitely.
it's worth it for sure.
So I completely forgot about this. So I'm going to do a quick plug real fast because anybody in the East Coast, if you want to meet up and have a good time, September 20th through the 22nd in Williamsburg, they are doing their first Bird Quest, which is a board game and RPG free day, panels, guests, and all sorts of stuff. I know Inked is working on stuff. Him and I have already
Yep.
been communicating on that, and I'll be there because it's only 20 minutes away.
Heck
So
yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna
stop
go.
in.
I'm gonna check
So
that out too. Cheers to Bird Quest.
cheers to Bird Quest. Well, and awesome to have a bunch of people in here hanging out too, because it's always a lot more fun when.
What's
Three
everybody
of us.
drinking? Come on.
Oh yeah, there we
We
go.
can't be
There's a
the only two
question.
drunks at the tavern.
What's everyone drinking tonight?
Snuggie, what's in your glass, Snuggie? Don't tell me chocolate milk.
We got September 20th through the 22nd is Bird Quest. Ooh, one person's over here with some rum and coke. There we go. At least we got one other drunk in here.
We're not alone.
Mm-mm. We come
Can't be the
in
only
packs,
drunks in the tavern.
right?
Distal was
is-
rocking it. He was doing shots, fireball. Holy shit.
Yeah. Just got done with work. I need a stiff one. There you go. Yep. Yeah, no, Distal's a little much. It's great. I've met him a couple times. Actually, we met just a few weeks ago before we even got to Gen Con because he was here for helping out some friends and found out that where he was helping friends at, I was right around the corner. So we met up for lunch or dinner and had a drink but yeah, no.
Is that when his friends were stranded
Yeah.
in Chesapeake?
Yep.
where I was chatting him about. I'm like, bro, I was like, I could throw a rock into Chesapeake from my house.
Yeah.
He didn't call
So
me. Bad Distal.
here, gotta hydrate for my back-to-back in-person games tomorrow and Friday. That's awesome. You better be back in a couple weeks. So, and we're definitely working on. That's right. There is a FurCon in Newport News. Completely forget about that. But maybe one day. I don't know. Distal and I are working on some projects too this coming year. So hopefully we come up with something funny, something that works. But I have the 20th off. All right. Well, then we'll see you there. And we'll do. I'll get a sign up made to say Tabletop Misfits, and I'll try to get my shirt there by then, so we can all meet up and take a big picture. People here at BirdQuest, bring it out. So
Nice.
I got approved to run and play in streamed games. So happy, awesome. I don't know what that means exactly, unless you had to get approved by D&D Beyond, which makes sense, but kind of gatekeepers.
James, did you ever go to Dragon Con?
I haven't been yet.
That's on my list too.
That's on my list. The problem with Dragon Con is it's around the same time as Gen Con, and Gen Con was the first big one.
No, it's a month later.
Is it?
Dragon Con's beginning of September normally.
Okay.
Gen Con's beginning of August.
Yeah, but it's all Dragon Con and Gen Con are
Close.
They're close enough that I would have to pay the money difference. So I
thought you meant like they overlapped.
No, they don't overlap, but they overlap just enough for me to be like, that's gonna be costly. I do that in the springtime, so I fly out to Colorado where GUI Cube headquarters is, and we do a small convention out there called Genghis in February. And then I'm gonna fly home, and I'm home for like 3 weeks, and then the following week I leave off for GaryCon that following month. So yeah, I'm trying not to do back-to-back conventions just because they start to hurt both the checkbook and the leave book, because I don't work for myself, sadly, so I can't just take leave whenever I want.
Right. So, it's taxing. It is.
But yeah. All right. Let's see here. So here's a fun question. What is your favorite character?
Like race?
Sure. Race, class, combination, your choice.
Druids.
Druids.
I've been privy to druids. Okay. Now, I'm not going to say I play them the best. I'm the world's okayest player, I guess. But I love druids with the wood and the driftwood chandelier behind me, and there's all kinds of other natural stuff all that you can't see hiding in the room. I love nature. I love kayaking. I love the mountains. I love lakes. So definitely druids are my bread and butter and soul for sure.
Yeah, I kind of want to do something like that one year where you just get a bunch of people together and take them up into the wood and then play games like in the atmosphere of like the world that
would be
play in.
Sick.
So
that would be sick.
Maybe we'll do a group. Maybe we'll do
make sure I get that invite, please.
The first Tabletop Misfits retreat is going to be I'm probably going to be recruiting you because you're going to be the one that knows where all that is. I haven't done any heavy hiking or anything like that for years, but I'm always down for somebody to be like, hey, I want to go do this, and I'm always that person that's like, okay, if I can have time and energy, I'll be there. So bread and butter, that's another great name. Love that. Tree hugger, you're being called.
All right.
But Kinders are crazy good, I'm hearing. The Kinder Arcane Trickster Rogue with a Chaotic Evil alignment. Woo, we got some interesting ones popping up here in the channel tonight for class groups, with the Kinder added back into the puzzle piece for 2024 to see what that looks like. But what's your thoughts on that, if you have any, without being too crazy, with the new upgrade, the new D&D 2024? Have you seen anything about it yet?
I did. I'm actually glad you brought this up.
Sure.
Wizards of the Coast, all this crap with all the YouTubers that holy shit, they're going after so many YouTubers for showing the book
Yeah.
Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, what the? I don't know. I'm so done with
Yeah.
Wizards. They've really put a bad taste in my mouth, man.
Hmm.
When I got back into D&D 5 years ago,
Yep.
I love books. I love to hold
Yeah.
the books. I love to look at the books. I like to look at the pictures. I like to read the books. Like, I was buying them knowing I'm not going to run 1/10 of the shit I'm buying,
Oh
but
yeah,
I
I have an
want them. I
entire
want the
slew of
book.
books on over here that you can't
Right.
see. That
It's like the gray pile mini of shame. You
yeah,
know, it's the
I have
same
that
shit.
too.
But I don't even want to give them my money anymore.
Yeah.
I don't. It's because that shit with the OGL that they pulled
Hmm.
a year ago, and then now this with the I yeah.
You're officially a grognard. Is what you're being called. It's the
I
old school,
guess.
man. I mean, that's what it is. I have.
Well, it's not even that. It's the corporate bullshit
Yeah.
that Hasbro and WotC's doing. It's just I'm done. Sorry, I'm done. I'll
No, no,
stick
you're
to.
good.
I don't.
Cause
I got enough of imagination to run my own shit, and I got
yeah,
enough books and crap here to pull stuff out. And all my friends got a big enough brains and creativity. We don't. We don't. That's the thing. That's the thing, Watsy. We don't need you anymore.
yeah, yeah. As long as we
That's the
have,
problem.
as long as we have the basics of the standard, the SRD, it definitely does change things.
And there's so many other content creators too, man. It's like big name from Matt Colville to Kelsey Dion to they're all putting out shit.
Oh, they're
And
all putting out
Runehammer,
stuff,
like
and now they're putting out not only, yeah, no. So I want to definitely give this quick shout out for this. So Soleo has been a follower of the channel for a very long time, for a couple years now. He works for Wizards. And during the OGL thing, he had to literally go into hiding because people were attacking him personally. And I was like, people need to realize that it's the corporate side of things, not people
right,
that work for
right.
them. Because I felt really bad that he had to go through that kind of a struggle as well, even as an employee. But yeah, um, this is an interesting time right now we're in with TTRPGs because there's so many new things coming out. We have Critical Role producing stuff. We have Matt Colville producing stuff. We have the Dungeon Coach producing stuff. We have Cobalt Press producing their own content. We have then we have other third parties that are outside of the D&D realm completely. That, in my opinion, I'm having just as much fun with as anything. Which I am a huge presenter and huge player with the One Ring. So anything done by Free League Publishing is just incredible. I didn't know there was an Animorphs TTRPG, but that's ridiculous. I haven't even heard of Animorphs since I was in, elementary school. But, you know,
I love Call of Cthulhu, in
Chaosium.
Chaosium and all the stuff that they do. But I've still yet I have their starter set for the Call of Cthulhu TTRPG. Haven't touched it yet. I browsed through, touched it, meaning haven't played it. But that's on my bucket list too, though, to get that. Yeah, I'll have to set that up one day, I think.
Yeah.
Get the boys in the hood over.
There you go. Yeah, I've got boxes of games. We officially for the next year have been sponsored again by Free League Publishing, so we do have a project in the works for that one as well this year. I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan. Like if it's like Dungeons and Dragons and then Lord of the Rings are so much blended for me. It's not even funny. But I love playing the more grittier versions of the medieval times where a magic spell isn't usually cast as often, things like that. Low magic is my bread and butter if I can.
Right.
But Dungeons and Dragons is too hero based for that kind of thing. Everybody gets a power, everybody gets abilities and things like that, which is great for some people. For others, not so much. It is what it is. Each person has their own forte. But I will say I'm looking forward to seeing where the TTRPG industry as a whole goes over the next year. Because I definitely was one of those crazy people that was like purchasing 3 or 4 different types of systems for the new Kickstarters that were coming out because I'm like, oh, I want to see what this looks like. I want to see what this is going to be and what potentials we have. So, but yeah, just sent you a Discord message with something for the Animorphs TTRPG. Would love to have some fun with people. I'm always down to run games, play games. If I can find the time to do it, I'll definitely be there. online and in person if it's possible. I haven't played an in-person game other than at a convention. Ooh, since last year, sometime. Run everything online. It's the most depressing thing in the world sometimes. I have a
Yeah.
brand new gaming table, and I've only used it to play card games. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I love gathering people around the Harbinger, and it's just you
Yeah,
can't. It's that man. I don't know.
yeah.
Snuggy, take it away.
Snuggy,
I
take it
guess
away. Any
it's just you can't
plans?
beat it, man.
Yeah,
You can't.
you can't. And if you have the time and you have that space, my thing is currently is the place I'm at right now is starting to charge for people to stay after 6 o'clock at night. I'm like, this is stupid. So I'm looking for a new place. But yeah. Any plans for a new table design or features? Being
Ooh,
asked in the
funny you
channel.
mentioned that. Who asked that one?
That is bread and butter.
Um, yes, that actually we
And he's
just wrapped
using
up
your
our
name. He's using your name, Mike. So I'm sure this is somebody you know.
bread. I don't know who bread and butter is.
You
Who is
got
it? Come
you
on,
got
I
to
need a
shout it
name.
out.
I
We need
need
a
a name,
name.
butter. Who is it?
Wait on it. Uh,
I'm leaning into the screen.
Carl.
What?
Nope. Nope. It's
It's
not Carl.
it's is it Palooka?
I don't know. Carl in
Palooka is
Minnesota.
that? It's Palooka.
Maybe. He's in Minnesota. Bingo. Yes. Yes, it is Palooka.
What's up, Palooka?
There you go. So.
Now I totally got squirreled. What did he ask?
He asks, "Is
Oh,
there any
new table
new
designs.
table designs or features coming?"
Um, yes, the next table that's in the queue is I need to come up. Hey, let's hash this out now. It needs a new name.
All right.
On the website, there's a category. It's under the table bestiary for bigger tables. One is the Chimera, the Kraken, and the Leviathan. This one is labeled under the Revelation, but it's under there because it's a bigger table. But it needs a monster type name like Kraken Leviathan. So let's go. It's what it is. It's a 6 foot by 9 foot
All
version
right.
of the
I'm
Harbinger.
posting in the channel. We as the Misfits can decide this. Rally apart and see if we can come up with a name. All right. Let's see what we got here. The Revelation is
Like,
our rectangle table. Imagine, if you will, an elongated harbinger. Its dimensions are 6 by 9. It will seat 8 players and one dungeon master comfortably. This table has yet to be manifested and is only a figment of our imagination. Will you be the first to bring it to life? Ooh.
and that's our next table. Somebody did.
I mean, there is the
So yes,
Tarask. If we really want to get bigger, we can go for Tarask.
is that copywritten though? Is that a
Ooh.
Watsy thing? I don't think I could do that.
Is a Tarask part of the OGL?
I like Behemoth, the Behemoth.
Behemoth,
That works too.
Sasquatch,
But
Behemoth,
that's
the
what.
Sasquatch. Purple worm isn't sexy. Yeah, you're right. No.
Kaiju.
The kaiju, that would be interesting. In real,
So while they're plucking around with that, but as far as other ideas, yes. I'm still.
call it Mike's epic beard.
Is that Chris Peters? Who's that?
That's Paluga. Yeah. Drider. Drider's not very big though. I like the
Right.
Lolth idea, but Lolth is definitely copyrighted by Forgotten
Yeah.
Realms.
That's already Salvatore right there,
Yeah,
I
you're
think.
gonna dive into some hard pain right there on something like that. I don't know, what is a large. I mean, you could call it the giant, even like
The Frost
the
Giant.
frost giant. Depending on how you color it, I mean, you could coloration change it, and it could be its own types. So you could have a frost giant, you could have a hill giant, you could have a fire giant. You know, a lot. Let's see here.
Right.
Massive creatures of myth. What can we come up with?
So I have like multiple ideas that require machines I don't own yet, like laser cutters, CNC machines, that kind of stuff. Because I do, like on the legs, on the post, we have the rune plaques where there's runes vertically up and down. I would love to cut those out, epoxy them, and light them up.
Yeah.
Kind of like Paladin Woodworking,
Mm-hmm.
how he does his stuff. So that's something I want to look into. Also, for the Stashwick braziers, I'd love to attach a smoke machine to those bitches.
Oh
Have some
yeah.
smoke pouring out of those. So I've looked into, but the hard thing is finding a machine that's small enough that makes sense. So that's a struggle there,
Yeah.
for sure. So there's always ideas and new things. So I'm 4 years into this, and I still say I'm just getting started. Like
Yeah.
there's
Well, you're four
there's
years
more to
into it,
come.
but it looks like it's keeping the business strong. So I mean, that's a big deal. So 4 years in is solid.
It is, and I'm happy to report. Like last year, 2023, I'm gonna say 80% of my income was Weather Dragon money,
That's awesome.
which paid my bills. This year, I'm on track this year to be 90 to 95%, and I'm banking for 2025 to be 100.
That's
So
awesome. Yeah, the Elder
there's
Dragon. I don't know. Dragon. Don't do Dragon. Dragon's too hard. Too much heartfelt for that one. I can't do Dragon to anything.
yeah.
Uh, I like Titan. Somebody said Jordan Margaret. The Jormungandr from the giant serpent from uh, Viking Age or the Norse mythology. Somebody said Cerberus, Juggernaut, Dragon Turtle.
Ooh, Juggernaut is
Yeah,
that's kind of cool.
yeah. Fenris,
That's got a nice ring to
right?
it.
Juggernaut. Yeah, especially if you're putting some serious, pillars to it. The Juggernaut would actually probably be a really good one, but be careful. Oh, Juggernaut has been around a lot longer than Marvel has, so might
Yeah,
be
I
useful.
don't think that's a Marvel owned term. I don't think they can
Yeah,
post
just
the
don't color it
ownership of
red.
that.
Just don't color it all red, and you'll be fine.
Give it a red helmet.
Give it a red helmet, and they might be a little more questionable, but otherwise, I think it'll be all right. But yeah, that sounds like fun. Like I said, and so for people curious, because I've never, I mean, I've priced out tables from multiple different companies. What does an average go for your tables?
Base price is 8,500.
Okay.
With that, you get red oak is the base hardwood
Mm-hmm.
in the 8,500. You get the lanterns, you get the LEDs, you get the plugs, you get the cubbies, you get everything that you see behind me.
Yep.
The only real, I don't want to say options are if you want the topper or not, the leaf topper to close off the game vault.
Mm-hmm.
And I've only had to date only one customer not order a topper. And then I offer a DM leaf. It's a 6-inch leaf that sits right in front of the DM over the game vault,
Mm-hmm.
and it gives the DM, just because they got a decent dedicated space. It's 45 inches, 14 inches deep because it
Right.
extends a little bit more, but they only have maybe a 3 or 4 inch little lip of hardwood.
Yeah.
So once they add that lip to it, another 6 inches, it's just a little bit more room for them to put
Right. Yep.
a couple more things. So I call that the DM leaf, and that's super, super useful and super handy as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, I'm looking at, even though I don't have a Weather Dragon table, I'm looking at definitely getting a DM section for the table I do have, um, because that is one thing that definitely is needed. Uh,
And the reason behind the DM section, again, the table built by gamers for gamers. I'm not a huge DM screen guy. I don't like to be separated that
correct.
wall. So it gives you enough privacy, 4 inches, a little bit of your own little well. You can roll dice,
Yep.
whatever. You can hide stuff a little bit, but there's still room there to put a DM screen
Yep.
if you chose.
So you don't have to say this. It's my own curiosity that's kicking in. What is the most expensive one you have done? You don't have to tell me who it's for or anything. I'm just curious what the most expensive one you have created so far.
The Kraken,
Okay.
but this next one is going to top that.
The unnamed one yet?
Yes,
Yeah.
the name that shall be. Now, I do need to go back to the customer because what I do also, customers name the tables. The Dungeoneer was purchased by Jason and Sophie Coleman from the Indie Dungeoneers.
Okay.
He was the first one to do that design, so I asked, and then I don't know if I said, "Hey, it's an Indie Dungeoneer, let's call it the Dungeoneer," and he was cool with it, or I don't know if he threw it at
Right.
me. But anyway, but that's where that came from. The Stashwick signature game table obviously came from Todd. What else? The Iron Gate. That's the bar stool height Stashwick. Customer first one to order that. I let him. He gave me a list of a few, and that's the one we settled on. What else? The Chimera. The customer to first order that because that was his design. He came up with the hex. He threw a couple at me, and I, ooh, Chimera, I like that because it was mainly because of the wood that he chose. Because each triangular pattern of that one was zebra wood, Paduke, all the way
Oh,
around. So
okay.
it was a hybrid of
Mm-hmm.
all these different woods, and it had a sapele border also. So that's the Chimera was just perfect for that one. So yeah, I give the customers the opportunity
Oh wow. Yeah, I'm looking at that one
to
right now. The Chimera. That thing is.
that table. Every time I see that, that just reeks of medieval because with the
That is
so many, there's
sick.
6 freaking posts and torches on that
Yeah,
bitch.
that almost looks like
It,
it's almost like King Arthur, like a round table type feel, and that's sick.
the Leviathan is that table, but an octagon with 8 legs. Can you imagine that with
Jesus.
8 posts and lanterns?
No.
That would be. I need to make one of them bitches.
Oh, you haven't made the Leviathan yet either.
Nope, that's
Yeah.
a figment of my imagination.
Yeah, that's awesome though. That these are just figments, but they're so
It's like they are, but they aren't. You know,
right.
they're there. I know what needs to be done. I just need somebody to order one
Yeah.
because I don't have all this time and money to just build
Oh yeah,
shit
no.
or nowhere to put it. I don't have a showroom either
Mm-mm.
yet.
Yet. Be the first TTRPG showroom, table furniture would be great.
Yeah, dude, it's just fun, man. All this crap, it's just fun. I'm tired of doing drywall and flooring and paint. This is just so much cooler.
Oh yeah, definitely. And the fact that it's actually being fundable, right? Like that's the crazy thing is a lot of people think that
Right.
these giant projects are not possible, but with the amount of care and love that you're putting into it and the customization you're putting into it, it makes it much easier for you to withstand and deal. Um, Snuggy's question: how long does it take for you to make a table?
Uh I used to have an hours log every time I got in the shop. I would when I started and clocked out
Yeah,
because I wanted to know how long it took.
yeah.
I gave up on that about 6 months ago. But if somebody ordered like a Harbinger with a topper, it is about 120, 130 hours
Okay.
went into it. I'm telling you right now, that process has been streamlined even more. And I'm gonna say with the topper is probably close to 100. Like I think I've shaved I 10 to 15 hours easily
Right.
off, what I was doing. And it's all a lot of it is it's the process. As I'm doing stuff, how can I do this? My brain is always going, how can I do this part faster? What jig do I need to make or what do I
Right.
have to do it this way? Is there an easier way to do it? So again, my brain it always finds that way. It finds the easier way or the not the better. I don't want to say easier, but the better, more efficient way
Mm-hmm.
without cutting corners because I don't cut corners. I cut a lot of corners on the wooden table, but I don't cut corners when it comes to process and quality.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
That's for
Like even
sure.
the Citadel is neat because I like the way it's built, but instead of putting the torch, it's got the little lanterns to it, which I think is a neat little different touch.
Right.
So
Well, the only real difference with the Citadel is that it's standard. That's a
okay.
standard. It's standard table height in versus bar stool. It's a Harbinger, but it's the standard. I like with all the different names. Uh, it delineates the specific table versus I want the Harbinger, but can I get it in standard? It's just I don't know. It's more fun to give it all these different names, I guess. So when somebody wants a Citadel, it just it's a Harbinger, but it's standard height versus
Hmm.
Barstool. So
Yeah, and then you get the Iron Gate where there's no. It's got the little. So the Iron Gate, that one's the.
Barstool Stashwick,
Okay, that's what that one is. All right. And then of course we have the traditional Harbinger, which is still.
which started it all.
So you've been doing this. You said 4 years or 6?
Oh, I'm gonna say I think I made the Weather Dragon an official business in 2019.
Okay.
I wasn't really doing much back then, but I'm like, it got to the point where um, I don't know what made me do it. I made the first one, and then Tower Games wanted one, so that was my first official sale. Or
Nice.
no, it wasn't. I'm sorry, it wasn't Tower Games. It was Michael Franz, one of the owners of Tower Games. Um, was priced nowhere near where it should have been, but I was just stoked somebody was willing to pay me money for this creation. So I'm like,
Sometimes
let's
that's what
go.
happens.
So that's what started the ball rolling. So my wife, I'm like, look, honey, somebody was going to pay me for this crazy ass idea I have.
Right?
So she's like, okay. So that's what started it. So I don't know if it was at that point. I'm like, let's turn this into a business. But then shortly thereafter, then Tower of Games, the one that Charlie plays at all the time, the
Mm-hmm.
NGM. So it might have been somewhere right around that point is where I decided to, all right, let's make it legit and see where this goes. Because when I made that first table, it was for me. It was for me and my friends. I never did this to
And it is an
become
expectation.
right to become a table manufacturer. That's not why I did it. It was just for us. Then once I had started having games here, people were coming and they're just like, Mike, you really need to show this to the world. So
So I did.
okay.
So I
So
did.
do you know RavenCon in Richmond?
I do. I've never been, but
They were the first convention I booked. I booked them in 2019. So this has to be going back for I don't maybe I'm terrible with time frames. Um, RavenCon was the first con I booked. 2019 came COVID, so no, it had to be 2020 because down at the COVID's just started taking off. I think
yep.
in 2019. So 2020 RavenCon canceled. 22, 21 canceled. So I'm like, son of a bitch. I was all psyched. I was raring to go and nothing. Reached out to Gen Con. I go from RavenCon to Gen Con. Applied, got accepted. Gen Con, but now this is 21. COVID was still pretty prevalent.
Yep.
People were still scared, and
It was the half
and
con.
and yes, they cut it to like 35,000 attendees. So I'm like, you know what? Fuck it, let's do it.
Yep.
So that
Yeah,
was my
that's
first.
where
Talk about coming out of the gate swinging from
I
being
feel
a
you.
nobody to
I went from
to, to
being a
going.
nobody writing, telling stories in my own house to the first actual game ran by strangers was by GUI Cube 2021 at Gen Con. They're like, here,
Hell yeah!
come out here and
Raise your
run
glass.
games.
Raise
So
your glass to that.
so yeah, same thing. And from then, like you, it started spiraling. I started writing for them, and then we started this stream, and then I started bringing guests on board, and now we're 126 episodes in. So
That's props to you, brother. That's fantastic,
it's
and I
not
wish
paying the
you
bills
nothing but
like
growth
like the table is,
and
but it's
success.
still
Right.
an amazing opportunity.
But it will
So
one day. It will one day.
I'm back the hell out of that. So I'm back. I don't understand what you mean. You mean you backed it? If you're
Who
talking
is
about
that?
the Tomb of Guys and Gags, then yes, there was a lot of backing done on that one for a lot of people, and I know a lot of the writers for that, and oh yeah, I back the tier pretty heavy as well. So, uh, but stupid speech to text, it happens. But yeah, yeah, I went from there. Wrote my first adventure with them in 2022, and then they literally the following year they looked at me and I said, "Hey, so you wrote this adventure? We think it's good. We want you to premiere it at Gen Con the next year." And I was like, "Excuse me? Like, don't do that to me. This is scary." So it went from never writing in my life to my first adventure being ran at Gen Con, and it's just this world of TTRPGs is so inclusive that it's almost frightening because they're willing to give you a chance as long as you're a good person and you're willing to try. And that
Right.
to me is something so off the wall from every other type of industry out there, I swear. But
Well,
yeah.
well, since we're talking about writing, I guess that would be a perfect time to talk about the Weather Dragon Press.
Yeah.
Um, One of my customers, Sam Hamilton, um, he is a professor and a genius with when it comes to words. So he approached me and he's like, Mike, because I love what you're doing, obviously, because he bought one of my tables.
Yeah.
And he proposed the idea of um, starting a press under the Weather Dragon name, where because this dude spits out one shots like I spit out tables, like it's just second nature to him,
Yep.
and they're just and they're I've read them and they're good. So yeah, so the first one that we actually took to print is this guy. This is the
Awesome.
Menagerie of Souls. No um, AI art. These are all paid
Yep.
artists for the artwork.
That's where the expense
Um,
comes from. For anybody that doesn't know, that is where your expense comes from when publishing. Artwork
yeah,
is so
and
expensive,
uh,
but it's worth it.
and this is a fan homage to Todd Stashwick. I don't know if you can see the bottom, but if you can read that,
Step right up and test your metal in this magical adventure created
wait,
in thanks for Todd Stashwick. There we go. Yeah. I can.
I'm moving it the wrong way.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
It's so hard to see it, but anyway, but yeah, dude, he's super awesome with that. They're actually trying to start up a it's called a West March League where you run the adventures that are published. We're trying to do once a month, and then you go on the Discord, you vote for your favorite moments, favorite out of context quote, all kinds of stuff. And we want to do prizes and get stuff, but it's still all this is still getting off the ground.
Oh
So
yeah.
it is still a work in progress. So we do have a Discord channel also, so follow us there. But yeah, all kinds of cool stuff happening.
That is true. Yeah, I joined a West March server with Realmsmith a couple years ago, and that's where Soleo and I met, and a couple other people that I've become really good friends with.
Nice.
But the downfall with the West March is once again, if you are one of people like me who like to write, I'm in there constantly, and at that point, it sucks all my time away. So I have to be very cognizant of the amount of time I'm spending in those types of worlds. So, politics is politics. What does it take to
Right.
write a one shot for West March? That's a good question.
Uh,
It's a good
you
question.
just have to be able to write, I guess. I don't now.
Are you
Let me
talking for his
clarify this.
company, or are you talking in general?
Right.
Because that's two different
I
questions.
I wrote nothing in this. This is all Sam.
Yeah.
This is not he ran some of the artwork by me. I'm like, yeah, that's cool, man. I'm not crazy about that. That's cool. That's about it. But this is all Sam. This is not me. Uh,
Uh oh. Did we freeze? Oh,
template.
there it goes.
Um, am I freezing up on you?
You did for
Because I
just a
am on my.
moment, just a moment, and we are past our hour. So if there is anything, this is a good time for our audience. If you're in here still and you're hanging out with us, if you have any questions, it's the best time to present them. We can get these questions answered, and then we'll get Mike off on his own to finish his mug and enjoy the rest of his evening. Uh, Sam is
Enjoy the rest of
very,
my evening.
yeah, Sam is very good at what he does. Oh, I'd love to meet Sam. I'm sure he's a great person. I'm sure he writes amazing work. So
He's going to PAX. He'll be
awesome.
there.
I won't, sadly. Once again, I'm so mad. So many people want me to be at PAX this year, and I have a rule that if D&D affects the kiddo, then I don't do D&D. So, which is why the shows are so late. It's why I avoid certain conventions because the kiddo comes first. So,
Not good for you.
yeah.
Good for you.
Are there Monday
My
through?
kiddos are older. I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about that too much anymore. My oldest is 21. My
Oh
middle guy
yeah.
is
I get nine
19.
more.
And
I
my
get 9 more years. 8 soon. So yeah, once they hit to that
yeah.
level. But I'm sure my older stepson, before my divorce, he would literally go. He goes with me to conventions and he runs games now and he does his own thing. But he's off on his own, rampant now for his own stuff. But it's just cool to see that opportunity. I might take him to BergQuest if it's that small, if it's only there in Williamsburg. Um, but thank you, Snuggy. I mean, really, the tavern, everything I've done with the TTRPG scene has been the only requirement was is that it was done after the child was in bed or when I can take off and I have opportunities. But if it affects him in any way, then it gets put on the back burner. So I know we need to get
Nuggy's
beers at
got his
PAX.
hands full.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, most of us do. Most of us are, parents now. The ones that played in the basement. So my kids are 10, 12,
Yeah.
13, and 14. Hey, just because they love playing D&D does not mean sometimes you have the time to play D&D with everyone. But that's a whole table right there. You had 10, 12, 13, and 14. That's a Friday night every weekend with
Oh yeah.
kids. So, any other questions for the Weather Dragon or myself before we call for last call? Um,
Hey, so I'm doing something really cool tomorrow and Friday night.
oh yeah.
I'm joining a live stream with Bill Rior from Beetle and Grimm.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's going to be epic.
So how did we
I
get
do a lot
involved
of
with
work.
that?
I do a lot of work with the Band of Badgers. They're out of the UK.
Hmm,
I've been doing a Pathfinder stream with them every 2 weeks,
cool.
and they do a lot of stuff with Beetle and Grimm. They do a lot of play testing,
Hmm,
so they're in with those
right.
guys. So that's for them. That's not a hard thing to do. So I was. This Friday was our regularly scheduled Pathfinder game, but they pushed it and said if whoever, they reached out to our original group and said whoever wants to do it, you're more than welcome to. So I'm like, yeah, duh, Bill Rior, I'll be there.
Yeah, why not, right? I met Matt at Gen Con this year for the second time, but actually I was sent to time to actually sit down and talk with him. I have a very respectful uh, demeanor with Matt because he has many times told people, and we have made sure to agree with this, that if he's in the booth, he's working, and if he's outside the booth, he's willing to talk because he has literally told people that. And I was like, hey, I respect that hustle because that is what, that's paying his bills. That's
Right,
not where
right,
he's out there doing his thing, but he's actually still trying to grow his business, which is awesome.
right.
Um,
I have a cool Matt Lillard story from Gen
sure.
Con 2021. Beetle and Grimm was there. I went to his booth. He was outside his booth.
Yep.
I waited for him to get done talking to who he was talking to. Introduced myself, said, "Hey, we got a booth around the corner. If you have time, would love for you to stop by and check out the table." He's like, I'm leaving. I think he was supposed to leave that night. He's like, so time is really tight. He's like, so I don't know if I can. He's like, but I will if I can. So I'm like, that's all I can ask. Appreciate your time. Shook his hand, took a picture, and went on my merry way.
Yep.
The night came and gone. Didn't see him. No big deal. I didn't expect it to happen at that point. The next morning, we were just getting open. I don't even know if the booth. Yeah, they were. The hall was open.
Was
I
it
was bending
Sunday?
down in the corner. I know this would have been probably Friday or
Okay.
Saturday. So I'm just fiddling in the corner, fixing something or getting something from underneath the table. and I hear my son go, "Dad, I think you're gonna want to take this." I turn around, and there was Matt standing there at the table.
That's
I'm
awesome.
like, "What are you doing here? I thought you were leaving." He goes, my flight got delayed or whatever it was. But he took the time to come back and see me.
Yeah.
So that was I thought that was pretty damn cool. And he chatted with me for about a minute or so. So it was cool. Props to Matt Lillard,
Yeah,
good guy.
definitely.
And
Great guy.
speaking of Matt Lillard,
Oh,
you can't talk about Matt Lillard and
without
not
his whiskey. Yeah.
talk about that.
Yep. So
I'm not even a whiskey drinker, but
seems
it,
like you're enjoying enough of it because it's
It's
halfway
it's ner-
gone.
no, wait, back up. We did a live stream taste testing from that, and all the
Oh,
maniacs
nice.
I had with me got the bottle down that far.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm not a whiskey drinker. I wanted the bottle. That's all I wanted. So if you ever come down,
Yeah.
feel free to chug it.
I'm definitely a whiskey drinker, but that's besides the point. Um, yeah, I'll be in Pigeon Forge next month or next weekend, and we're definitely hitting a bunch of the distilleries down there. So
Nice. Is bread and butter still in the chat? He'll drink the
save me a drink.
whiskey.
That's what he just said. He said, "Save me a drink."
He's coming. That dude's a maniac. I met him at GaryCon. Dude, he's one of the coolest MFers you'd ever want to know. Met him at GaryCon. He's flying to my house September 14th to come play at this game.
That's awesome.
Dude's a maniac.
That's awesome.
He's good people. He's good people.
I'm sure
Love
we ran
Polka.
into each other maybe at GaryCon. I was running around like a crazy person my first year, this last year, talking to people. I met so many people. It was ridiculous, but it was worth it. And I'll be back this year, so because it was such a good experience.
Heck yeah.
But
Yeah, it was cool.
All right. Well, if we have no more questions tonight, it is last call. So as we raise our glasses high, we say goodnight for the evening, and thank you for joining us here at the tavern. Is there anything less things you would like to say before we close out?
Sure. I do have plans for expansion, and they're in the near future. When I say expansion, the shop is currently my 2-car garage. But I'm thinking within the next year, I'm going to see. I live on a little over an acre, and I can put a larger detached building in the back. So I'm hoping to get a bigger freestanding shop within a year. So
Awesome.
yay!
Well, if you ever need a game master to come down and run games, feel free to reach out.
Heck yeah!
Always willing to do so. Thank you once again for coming to hang out with us. Make amazing tables. Keep working hard. I thought it was so cool.
I appreciate
we were
it.
talking before the show. The thing above his head is actually driftwood that he pulled out of the river, which is absolutely incredible, and gives him props for his druidic mentality.
There's a video on my YouTube channel of that whole installation of that driftwood. So check
That's
that
awesome.
out too.
Definitely. So if you haven't been watching the channel, of course, the link's been in there with theweatherdragon.com. Go check them out. Go if you have the opportunity and you have the money, go get a table. These tables are incredible. I, of course, am your barkeeper and your tavern keeper for the evening. You can check me out every week on Wednesdays here at the tavern. Next week, we have, because I normally have my calendar up, but we were having such a good conversation that I did not pull it up to check what next week looks like. I believe it's somebody just as exciting, I hope so. Oh, Tom Nelson. So what we're doing next week is going to be fun because Tom Nelson is the creator of the deck of
Nelson.
Yep, deck of player safety. So
we know Tom Nelson. I got his phone number too.
Yeah, so we'll be reaching. So
That's so
we'll see
funny,
Tom
man. We're all
tomorrow.
connected.
Everybody's connected here in the tavern. I'm telling you.
Dude, that's crazy as shit.
So the amount
Tom's
of
good
people that I have met through this crazy experience is incredible. But yeah, so we'll be here next week with Tom as we talk about player safety and how to protect your players during the game. If you want to see
just give them armor.
What's that? Just give them armor. There you
just
go.
Give them
Perfect.
armor. That's how you protect your players.
That's great. And if you want to see what kind of craziness that we come up with where I'm behind the table or behind the screen, go check us out over on Gen Con TV on Monday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I am currently running a group of very unexperienced adventurers going through the world of Icewind Dale, where I don't understand why they went there in the first place. I do, but the fact that they allowed me to give them Icewind Dale as their setting was beyond me. I was like, oh goodness. But yeah, we're there. We're a full cosplay live play, and we've been telling our story. We're going into episode 22, so
Nice.
come hang out with us there. Of course, if you want to support us, the best way to do it right now, of course, is just to share, like, and give comments on this stuff, because really, in all honesty, our goal here at the Tavern is to do one thing, and that is to share other people's success and other people's skill set that within the community, because as you said earlier, everybody's got to be a part of the boat, so we got to make sure we don't
Yep.
sink. So
Rising tides, brother. Rising tides.
Yep.
Let's do it.
anyway, once again, thank you all for coming to hang out here at the Tavern. I will let you all have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you guys all next week on Tavern Talk.
Thanks for having me, James. Appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. Don't forget, stick around as we raid, so please hold on.
Holding on.